What's good, YouTube? Back at you with another video. In today's video, I have a surprise for you. I am interviewing Viet Kieu, my friend. His name is Simon, and I wanted to talk to you about, and I want to show you guys his experience here in Vietnam. He's from where I'm from, the US, and I hope you guys enjoy this conversation. Here is Simon. All right, what's up, guys? We have my boy Simon here. He is a new YouTuber as well, so we're trying to get his views up, man. So here is Simon. Simon, nice to see you, my boy. It's good to see you, my boy. Tell us a little bit about your background and where you're from.
All right, cool. Well, I'm from the States. I was born in Saigon, but I left as a kid, and I've been raised in the States, and now I'm back here in Vietnam trying to live the dream, man. Yeah, mostly from New Orleans and Charlotte, North Carolina.
Right on. All right, right on. And Simon has a YouTube channel that we are going to talk about a little bit later. But yeah, let's get to know him a little bit. So what made you decide to move back to Vietnam? And was it an easy decision?
That's a really good question. So it happened during COVID. So I started watching YouTube as entertainment, and I've never watched YouTube as entertainment before. I just got on YouTube just to see how to do something. And during COVID, a lot of people were locked in. And so I started discovering YouTube as entertainment, watching a lot of travel stuff, people going to Southeast Asia, especially Vietnam. And it just made me think about, wait, I can visit Vietnam. I can do that, and I can enjoy that, because I didn't really think about moving back here. And then some things that happened in my life that just gave me the opportunity to come here.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay. How did your family react when you told them you were moving to Vietnam?
That's a really good question. Well, they're still reacting to it now, because my mom feels like I'm still visiting Vietnam, right? And I'm back in States, and it's more for me living here and then going back to the States to visit, okay, if that makes sense. And I think it just takes some time for that to sink in to the family. So I've been here like almost 2 years.
Okay. All right. And in those 2 years, what have you learned?
I'm still learning. It's interesting you ask that question, because I'm still surprised and I'm not surprised. Like, especially with some of the things I've seen and done, where I'm just super grateful to get this experience. And I'm just surprised, and I pinch myself, and I'm like, wow, this is happening. And then I think back, and then I'm like, of course this is happening. Vietnam has all these opportunities and all these experiences that you can have. So I just feel really fortunate.
Legit. So what expectations did you have before moving to Vietnam?
Wow, that's a good question. I'm not sure what expectation I had. I think it continues to evolve. And I think the important thing for me is to do it, whatever the thing that I want to do, and then find out what the feedback is and whether I want to repeat or do I want to go someplace else. Because right now I'm kind of traveling throughout Vietnam, and I'm always learning something different, and I think my expectations, a lot of it gets smashed, where I'm like, oh, I think I'm gonna do this one thing. Recently, I think I told you I went to Viet Kieu, thinking that I didn't know anybody. My intention was just to do my videos and do my editing, and come to find out I have like 6 cousins there.
What?
Yeah. And I didn't know it. I didn't know that they were there.
Viet Kieu over here, man. Viet Kieu. So if you guys don't know what Viet Kieu is, it's a Vietnamese who was either born, that was born in Vietnam and then moved abroad, to Europe or the West, basically. So, and then they come back to their homeland. So what are the biggest cultural differences that you've noticed between Vietnam and the US?
Oh man, that's another good question. There's tons of cultural differences. I'm not sure where to start. I have found, and this is just coming to mind. I mean, there's tons, but this comes to mind because this happened to me recently. I've noticed that in Vietnam, people want to get to know you. They're asking you questions. And maybe from a Western perspective, we call it being nosy, or they're in your business and they're just curious. And so in the States, oftentimes neighbors don't talk to each other, or we see the neighbor and we do the head nod, and then we go about our business, we go to work or what have you. Here, they're curious. Where are you from? How long you been living here? Are you married? You know the drill.
Yeah, man.
You know, what do you do for a living? What do you do for a living? How old are you? Are you married? Yeah. And then after they get to know you, especially if you're talking to a guy and stuff like that, hey, do you drink? And then they invite you over for a beer, you know, come back.
Or 10.
Yeah, or 10. Exactly.
It's never just one beer.
Yeah, it's never just one.
Legit. So what aspect of American life do you miss the most?
I think most people when they come here, or if they're here for a long time, they miss their family and friends. That's the obvious answer, right? Is you miss your family and friends, and that'll be my answer for the most part. Is family and friends interacting with people, but a lot of times I'm calling people in the States. I'm video chatting with my mom and stuff like that. So, but if you're asking for, you know. I do miss some things, but nothing that I can't do without. There really isn't. I mean, if like a Saigon can be warm, hot sometimes, but hey, you go to Dalat and then you can have the nice cool weather. So there isn't anything that I miss that I can't replace here.
All right, bet. Legit. So, what do you love about living in Vietnam that you didn't experience in the U.S.?
Oh man, that is a good one. And to me, this is probably an obvious one for many expats. You just feel lighter. You feel the stress or anxiety or pressure just kind of slip over your shoulders. You just don't have the rat race mentality. And you're still hustling, you're still doing your stuff in Vietnam, but there's something about the culture or the environment or the people and all the above, I'm guessing, where you just don't feel this pressure. And I think, or I based on some of the conversations I have with people in the States, and when I come back to visit, there's always an issue. Somebody's worried about something or complaining about something, and rightfully so. You know, it's a harder lifestyle. Sure. So I don't fault them for that. But when I'm here, I just feel, you know, lighter. You know, it just feels easier. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing.
For sure. I totally agree with that. You know, when I left the States, the pressure, like as soon as I took off from the States in 2018, the pressure, I can't describe it, but
it's hard, dude.
It's just a weight just went. It's like someone just took a weight off my shoulders, you know what I mean? And like the pressure was, I've never felt pressure here ever. Never. I have like such a peace of mind here. Do you agree?
Yeah. That's a good point for you to describe it, like a peace of mind. You do have a peace of mind. You do have a sense of peace.
Yeah.
It's easier. I don't know. It just feels lighter, and that's the only way I could describe it. Even if you're working 40 hours, you just feel lighter. Yeah. Your mind is clearer. You don't have that stress level. You're not in that rat race.
Totally. No, I totally agree. So, how do Vietnamese locals treat you as a Viet Kieu? Do they treat you differently?
That's gonna be yes and no.
Okay.
So it varies. It depends. I think as a Viet Kieu, there are some expectations, whether rightfully or wrongfully, they have about you, and they believe that you're successful in the States, and that especially if you're with family members, they believe that you're probably going to pay for dinner or you're going to take care of stuff when you're here. Not that you have to or anything like that. They just kind of there's an expectation a little bit. then sometimes Viet Kieu will treat me. I'm sorry. Sometimes the locals will treat me as if I'm a foreigner, and then sometimes they'll treat me as a Vietnamese person. But I think a lot of times, say for example, for you, I think they're a little more patient for you. In other words, if you say "come on," they're like on cloud nine, right? And they appreciate you using the language. Now, my Vietnamese is good, but it's not great, it's very good, but it's not great. And so if I'm mispronouncing a word, I'll hear it from them. They're like, what you mean? What do you mean? So I think they have I have a higher expectation to bring more Vietnamese out of me, I guess. I don't know. And so they're less tolerant of that.
Okay.
But I mean, I think there's pros and cons. I mean, I get scammed just like anybody else, and so they can tell too within a few seconds whether I'm a local or if I'm a Viet Kieu.
Yeah.
They can hear it in my accent.
Okay. So how do you feel about that? Like when they treat you differently, how do you feel about that?
I think it's fine. I don't have an issue with it. I think that's just expectation, whatever it is that. If you go to a foreign country and you're talking to somebody, I think it's just normal. Or if we're in the States, we treat a foreigner that comes over to the States a certain way too. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying it is what it is, and I don't feel insulted by it, nor do I feel there's advantages obviously of being a Viet Kieu as well. So I mean,
Like,
so. There's a tendency, and you know where I'm going with this. I see your face. So there's a tendency for Vietnamese women to kind of how shall we say, they enjoy your conversation.
Okay.
Or they want to get to know you and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not my charming personality.
don't worry, we're gonna talk more about him dating local Vietnamese women shortly. Okay. I know that's why you guys are here. All right. So what do you do for work here in Vietnam, and how does working here compare to the US? I know we were talking about this, off camera, but
Yeah. So at the moment, I'm really just doing YouTube. I have some savings from back home, so I'm still living off of that. I have taught some English, and that was kind of been sporadic a little bit, but for the most part, I'm really concentrating on YouTube, and that's been difficult in the sense of I'm a person that really wants to hang out. People ask me for lunch. People ask me for coffee. I have family here, have friends here, and I'm more prone to saying yes to that as opposed to doing my editing and stuff. So it's hard to say no. As you know, when Vietnamese people are inviting you to eat and drink and so forth,
you must go.
Yeah. So at this moment, it'll be YouTube at this moment, but I'm not making any money yet. But I will be.
I love it. And again, we'll talk about his YouTube channel coming up, so stay tuned. All right, so what does a typical day in your life look like?
Good question. Typical day will be editing and really just hanging out with people, either for lunch or for dinner or for coffee. It's a coffee culture here. And in the States, when we meet somebody for coffee, we're usually trying to take care of something. We're meeting them for half an hour. We're doing something. Here, you can just meet for coffee and hang out and not really have to do anything. And so it's editing and meeting people or family or friends for coffee, lunch, or stuff like this with you.
Right on. He's living a good life right now, for real. If you make money in the US, you come bring it over here, you can chill for 6 months. In the US, you're month to month. So save up your money, come and see Vietnam. You know what I mean? So, and I got you on that too. If you need a consultation, just look in the link in the description. I got you, man. Hit me up, man. All right. So what were the biggest challenges you faced when adjusting to life here in Vietnam?
Biggest challenges, probably culture. In terms of, and I have exposure to the Vietnamese culture in the States, obviously, but it's a little different here. One of the things that was a big challenge was, and I remember seeing this in a video after I was in Vietnam, but it was about how when you're talking to people, Vietnamese people tell you a lot of things.
Yeah.
They promise a lot of things, and I don't necessarily think they're lying. They're just under promise, over promise and under deliver. That's it. They over promise. They'll say something and then they won't deliver it, and then they won't tell you. You just kind of find out at the time that didn't work or that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But I think it's a cultural thing, and maybe part of it is they're too embarrassed to say they couldn't do it, or a safe face kind of like thing. So I think that was a little bit of a culture getting used to. And so now I just don't take it as serious. It used to be where I was like, what? You said you were going to do this, or this was going to happen, and this didn't. Yep. And now I kind of just like, oh yeah, it's the culture. I don't get upset about it. Or if I am upset, it's a short time of being upset, and then I just kind of let it go.
Yeah, like I would say my first 2 years here, I still hold people accountable. Let's be honest. I still hold people accountable. Okay. I still have that US, in me that's like, hey man, you said you were going to do something. How come you ain't do it? Right, you know what I mean?
Right.
So but I've let it go a lot because, living here 5 years, I've been like, man, when you gonna do this, man? I thought you were gonna do this today, and then it happens next week. You know what I'm saying? And so I've realized
they don't want to tell you no.
Yeah,
they don't ever tell you no. They don't. Yeah,
never will tell you. And that whole saving face is a real thing. That if you decide to move here, you have to get used to that. You have to. Yeah. You're never gonna change it. You don't want to change it because it makes Vietnam, what Vietnam is about. You know what I mean? You agree?
Right. No. I think, somebody said this. Look, I'm here in their country, and so you gotta adapt to their lifestyle, that culture. They're not gonna adapt to you.
Totally, and technically, it's your country too. You were born here. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, what's something about Vietnam that completely surprised you?
Oh, that's a great question. What was interesting to me, so I wanted to ride my motorbike around and just kind of travel. I was under the impression that people do that all the time. Locals do that all the time. They don't. I was under the impression that, and I remember talking to my aunt and uncle that lives here in Saigon, and I was explaining what I planned to do, and they were just like surprised and shocked.
You crazy?
Yeah, you crazy? And my cousin was like, "What? You're gonna ride there? You're gonna go?" Yeah. And I was under the impression that people just do that on the regular. And
we do that.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's expats that do that. People that visit the country, they're the ones who are riding throughout the country. Yeah. Locals are not really doing that. They're getting on the bus, but they're not. Yeah. They're going on the overnight bus or what have you. Yeah. But they're not riding like I am.
Hell no. Hell no. They totally think that that's crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like you would think it's crazy back home where someone's like, "Hey, you live in New Orleans. Oh, I'm gonna take a trip. I'm driving up to New York." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, what? Why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? And then, or like, oh, I live in California. I'm gonna go to Virginia.
Right.
Like, why would you do that? Yeah. But that's what visitors and expats. We tend to ride motorbikes from the north to the south, all around. I did it. I've done it. I do it. So yeah, man. So what advice would you give another Viet Kieu who's thinking about coming back to Vietnam? What advice would you give them?
So I know a number of Viet Kieus because I've met several since I've been here, and I would say across the board the advice is get your finances right.
Yeah,
I see a lot of Viet Kieus come here and they're here for a few months or they're getting their feet wet and then they run out of money and they got to go back to the States.
Yeah.
And then they come back and maybe that's what their strategy is. I don't know. Maybe it's the beginning. I don't know. And then obviously there are a number of Viet Kieus here that can afford to stay here and live a very comfortable life and not stress. But I would think is just get your finances right, and also try to get out of vacation mode if you're living here as soon as possible. It's hard not to think in vacation mode because everything is new to you. So and I was at the beginning too. I was like, oh, this is cheap. I'll buy that. Oh, I'll do this. I'll do that. But it adds up. And so, so you just got to get out of that vacation mode, whatever it is that you're trying and wanting to experience. If you want to live here long term, because you could spend money very easily here.
Like, yeah, it's cheap here. I totally agree. It's cheap here, but it's cheaper. Okay.
It's cheaper.
It's cheaper. It's not cheap. It's cheaper, but you could just throw money around like it's nothing. You know what I mean? Oh, it's $1. Oh, it's 50 cents. Oh, it's 25 cents. You know what I mean? 20. Yeah, you broke. Next thing you know, you look at your bill. Hey, you're like, you spend 10 million in 3 days.
Right.
You're like, bro, 10 million is $500 for those. But you're like, bro, I spent $500 already. Fudge.
Yeah.
What's going on, man? You know?
I remember that with my Grab. Like I wasn't riding at certain times. I was just lazy, or I was like, let me just take a Grab because it's so cheap. It's so cheap. And then at the end of the month, when I was looking at my credit card bill, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
I spent that on Grab? Yeah. It's like, no, wow, that's like almost half my rent.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I was like, whoa, So you know what it's like.
Yeah, for sure. You could spend money quick up here, man. So do you see yourself staying in Vietnam long term, or do you think you'll return to the US ever?
I'll definitely return to the U.S. as a visitor, but I think I'll be here long term. I want to visit throughout Southeast Asia, but Vietnam will be the home base. I don't know which city it'll be. At this point, I think it might be Saigon, but who knows? Ask me next year where I'll be, and then we'll find out. But yeah, that's the plan.
So we're gonna start talking about some dating girls now, all right? So
Sorry, I don't speak English. Sorry.
So sorry. So as a Viet Kieu, how is your dating life with the local women?
It's all right. It's all right.
You know,
it's okay. It's better than average. It's not. Part of it too is I speak Vietnamese.
Yeah.
So I speak Vietnamese and I speak English. So obviously it's easier to communicate and so forth. And I'm a pretty social guy, and so it's easy to get to know people here. And so yeah, I do okay.
Do you prefer American culture dating or Vietnamese culture dating?
You know what? I'm not sure about that question in the sense of, I think Vietnamese women or Asian people in general, they are adapting Western culture. And so more and more, so when you ask me that question, especially if they're younger, now I'm an older guy, I'm in my mid 50s. And so the ladies that I meet are going to be 40 and above.
Yeah.
And so they probably have more of a Vietnamese mindset.
Yeah.
But I have some friends that are in their 20s, some expat friends. And so the people they're meeting, the Vietnamese girls they're meeting, they tend to have a more of a Western outlook about dating. So they're not necessarily serious, or they can be serious, but they're very laissez-faire about it. You know, whatever the deal is, the deal is. When the women that I meet more or less prefer to, like, they really want a relationship or long term, most. And I just let them know, you know, I'm traveling. I
Let them know. You
no,
know?
it's not that. I let them know. No, it's not like that. I let them know, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm traveling. I'm doing YouTube and stuff like that. So as long as you're upfront with people.
He just let them know. You know what I'm saying? All right, so my boy Simon here, he's got a YouTube channel, man. Tell the people where they can find you. And I'll put it, you know, down here so you guys can look. And his YouTube channel will be in the description. So follow my man, support him, man, and please like this video and his videos, man. So where can the people find you, brother? What's your YouTube channel name?
My YouTube channel name is Lafty. It's an acronym I created. The L is for loving and living. A is adventure. F is food, fun, family, freedom, fitness, finances. T is travel, and E is extraordinary experiences. And I make videos for expats mostly, or for people who live in the States or in the West, Australia, UK, so that you can find a way to maybe come to Southeast Asia, maybe come to Vietnam. So I provide content similar to that, cost of living analysis, stuff like that. And I'm also on Instagram at the Lafty, and that's how you can find me. So message me, you have any questions, and watch my videos.
Yeah, so Simon and I, we met. He saw my video. So tell the people how we met, and yeah.
So I really enjoyed your information stuff that you put out. Not because I found that first before I saw your videos. It's these factoids about Southeast Asia, factoids about Vietnam that I had no idea. And so it's really interesting. And so from that, I started following you and when watching your videos. And then I was like, oh, let me reach out to him on Instagram and see if we can get coffee. Yeah, I really enjoy your stuff.
Yeah, no, Simon's great, man. Like, he's a good dude. You know, he was with his girl, you know what I'm saying, when we first met, and I was like, okay, Simon, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I see you, boy. I see you. But yeah, it's really good to, honestly, great to meet you, man. You're truly a great dude. You know
it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm grateful for our meeting and our encounter and stuff like that. I got a lot to learn from you.
You're all right.
You've been here longer than me.
Yeah, you're right. You know, I'm more Vietnamese than his ass. You know what I'm saying? I be eating that coagulated blood and shit. You eat that stuff?
I've eaten that. Yes.
It's good though. You know, they put pork on the bottom of it, or usually it's pork, but it's really good, eh?
It's not something I generally will order. It's nothing that I ever will order, but if I'm with people and they order it, then I'll eat it.
Yeah.
But it's not something like my go-to.
Yeah, no, same here. I mean, I've eaten it one time, and I'd eat it again, but it's more like in the north. But yeah, man. So this has been great, man. Do you have any other things you want to tell the people about yourself? You know?
No, I just appreciate the opportunity to interview here with you, Kev, and I just really enjoy our interaction. So thank you. Yeah.
This mother boop boop is my homie, man. You know, and this is why I love meeting my subscribers, is because I love meeting you guys, because we get to be friends, man. Like, this is what this is all about, man. It's not about the money. It's not about anything. It's about finding your tribe, man. So, man, I wish you nothing but the best, man. I'll be always supporting your ass. So, yeah. Anyways, guys, we are going to sign out from here. Make sure you go check out Simon's YouTube channel. It's right here. And we will see you in the next one.
Thank you so much. Take care.